At Southern, we started the game, really strong. We got a couple stops, in the first two drives defensively. We had an interception, in their second drive. And for us offensively on our second drive, we scored in 3 plays. Throwing a touchdown pass to Andrew Jamil that really got us on the board first and got some momentum going. They, as a good team does, they answered, later on in the first quarter. And we went to halftime. We gave up one, late right before the half, 14-7 at halftime. And, I think we just had a lot of self-inflicted wounds in the second half. We gave up, a touchdown on special teams, a touchdown on offense, and then 2 big play touchdowns on defense. So the way we look at it, self-inflicted, 28 points that we gave the other team. And there's nobody that you're going to play in this league that you can afford to do that with. So, I think we're really kicking ourselves in terms of some of the executional errors that we had in the second half and some of the breakdowns that we had that led to points. Every week you want to focus on the fundamentals, and this week's no different. When you have what I would describe as mental errors or pre-snap errors, those are things that shoot you in the foot, and we've limited them for the most part. I think we had a few more probably against Southern than maybe we had the week before, and then a lot of that if you can get yourself lined up and know what your job is, and then it's just the focus on the execution part. And it wasn't necessarily being outmatched or overpowered. It was just for us defensively, it was a missed tackle on one play, an unblocked defender missed tackle. It was a poor run fits on another play, and those were really the 2 big ones for us. The block punt was just poor technique in terms of how we block on the edge. And then, obviously, they're able to get some pressure on the quarterback and sack him and get the ball out, and kudos to them recovering it and scoring a touchdown. So, it's so much, pointing out single plays. It's just really focusing on pre-snap fundamentals, post-snap fundamentals, being aggressive at the point of attack, how to finish reps. If you're a blocker on offense, finishing hands on your block. If you're a defender, finishing with your hat in your gap, or finishing on the ball carrier with a good tackle with good angles and good leverages. So I think, for us, it was just really getting back to the fundamentals and really kind of harping on those. We were really pleased with the way Kyle Smith handled, just the entire situation. He had a great week of preparation. He has great command in the huddle, in and out of the huddle, helping guys get lined up. All the little things that a quarterback needs to do, some of the intangible things that don't necessarily ever show up on a box score. He did a really good job of that. He didn't throw it to the other team, which is big. The one turnover that we had was, strip sack. But he managed the game well. There's a few throws that he missed on that I'm sure he wants back, but he managed the game well. When we were able to get things going, he was able to hit his open receivers and make the right reads. And I just thought his command was really strong, the whole night. I think there was never a point where we lost focus offensively or lost our drive to compete. I think our guys were still competing all the way to the final whistle, and that starts with the guy under center. So I thought he did a really good job of that and just going through his reads. And there's a couple plays that not only he left out there, but our receivers left out there. So I think it could have been we could have helped him a little bit more in some situations, and I'm sure he could have helped himself a little bit more in some situations. But overall, he just did a great job of stepping into the role and running with it and commanding it, and we were really pleased with that. We've had some freshmen step into some really pivotal roles for us already at this point in the season. Offensively, Justin Felder's done a great job. He did a great job throughout camp. He runs the ball hard. He's a thicker back. He's lower to the ground. He's got a little shake to him, but he runs tough. He's a tough kid. And he really did a great job of carrying his performance in camp into the season. When we had somebody get injured in the running back room, he's been able to step into a more prominent role, and he did a great job of breaking some tackles, running tough, keeping his feet turning over, all night Saturday night. So that was really good to see, just to have another guy like that we know we can rely on, that can carry the rock for us is huge. Brandon Labana has really just improved every single week that he's been here. We were really high high on him, recruit him out of high school. He comes from a great program in New Jersey, and he's a competitor. He's physically he's put together. He's physically prepared, athletically prepared. Really in camp it was just about trying to get him, to lock in on the offense and the scheme, and I think you're starting to see that more and more. He had his first career catch against LIU Post the week before, which is a big play for us. And then he made a tremendous play on a 4th and 9, for his first career touchdown against Southern. He was running the ball, running the seam route, and Kyle made a good throw, and Brandon made a good adjustment and caught it, came down, made a guy miss, and scored with it. So we're really pleased with his production, and he'll continue to see more and more snaps as a result. Defensively, we've had 2 freshman defensive tackles that have been playing, pretty significant roles for us. Dom Spano and Rudy Holland have both done a really good job, really from day one of stepping in. We've got some experience in that group, but we've had some of our depth get injured to where they've had to play more of a prominent role, and they've done a great job of just attacking it, learning the scheme, being comfortable in the scheme, and then obviously in there up front, it's not all scheme. It's just, hey, can you beat the guy in front of you? Can you play your gap? Can you control the front? And we haven't really skipped a beat when those guys have been in there. They've done a really good job, and they're continuing to progress. So we've been really fortunate to have some freshmen that are capable of stepping in, and now they're not only just stepping in, they're kind of thriving in their roles, and hopefully we continue to do that with those guys and more. The fact that we're playing our 300th game just talks about obviously the longevity of the program, but also it's a nod and a wink to to those that came before us, those that started the program 300 games ago, for those that kept the program going and increasing its success, and building the infrastructure around it to the beautiful building and facilities that we have today. So I think we're really fortunate to be in the position that we are as a program and as a staff and as a roster, and hopefully we have a great 300 more after this. So it's a great opportunity for us to be here in the present now, and thanks to those that kind of paved the way for us to get to this point. I think it's something that's really important to just the student athlete today, the appreciation of where they are, what they have. It's easy, especially in a sport like football, where it is tough and it can be a grind, and it's a very physically demanding sport. For guys to kind of lose sight of that, because I think it's important for them to understand, what had to happen to get them here, but also get our program to the point that it is today, and to have all the blessings that we do have surrounding our program. So we'll absolutely take some time to point out that to our players. I'm sure some of them are already aware, and some of them, especially the younger guys, probably not so much. So I think that's a good thing to kind of just build the appreciation for Stonehill and our football program and everything else that ties along with it. It was awesome on Thursday to have the Susi family, his wife, his daughter, RJ, his son is abroad right now, but he was on FaceTime, so and friends of their family and some of his former teammates and classmates here, to do a jersey dedication and to hang that up in our office. I think it's a really good way to tangibly show our players, some of the dedication that those in the past have had towards our program, and then in their loving memory, that their families and their teammates have had to continue, that trend. Sometimes some of those things can kind of be behind the scenes, and I think this is a good way to kind of bring that out to the forefront. And it's one of the first things you always see whenever you walk into our football coaches suite. So whether it's our players coming in to meet with their coaches for academic meetings or film meetings, or it's recruits that are coming in to meet with me and the rest of the assistant coaches, everybody will see that, and it'll be a really great way to honor his memory and his jersey number, and again, a wink and a nod at those that came before us. I think the big thing with this conference, obviously knowing that it's going to be tough week in, week out, is you're seeing the commitment from schools towards their football programs. I mean, Pace's new facilities and obviously dedicating more money to recruiting. I think all of that stuff goes hand in hand, and you're seeing the fruits of that on the field with all of these programs, ourselves included. So I think seeing Pace where they are today, they're a good tough program. The kids play hard. Coach Rondell has done a great job down there. They were young a couple years ago, and all that youth is now grown up and developed, and they're 2-2. They lost 2 games versus 2 really good opponents, and they won 2 games against 2 solid opponents as well. So obviously with the bye week after this, I think a lot of teams are looking to go into that bye week with some momentum, at least to build on towards the second half of the season. And for us, we're looking to kind of right the ship and try to get back back, on the positive side of things. So, it's going to be a tough matchup, just as it is every week, along with it being an away game and an overnight trip and our first noon kickoff and all those little things that kind of go into it. So we're excited to make the trip down there. Their D-line is playing really well. They stop the run well. They get after the quarterback really well. They can get away with just rushing for and not having to bring a ton of exotic stuff. And they do a good job at it. They play some tight man coverage. They get their safeties downhill in the run game. So they're adding that 7th and 8th defender at times where, you just don't have enough guys to block. So they're going to challenge you in a lot of different ways. Offensively, they've got a great tailback that's been starting there for 4 years. They have a new quarterback under center who's pretty dynamic and can run around with the football and make plays as well. And we saw that on Friday night. Both those guys were over 100 yards. So for us, it's trying to control the ground game, right? We've got to be able to run it on offense and we've got to stop it on defense. So they do a great job of that. And then they're really talented on special teams. They try to attack you in a lot of different ways. They faked the field goal. They've attempted numerous onside kicks. So they're trying to make some impact plays in that side of the ball as well. Big thing Saturday is controlling the ground game. Defensively, we've got to do a great job of stopping their running back and then keeping their quarterback in the pocket and not allowing him to prolong plays and make plays down the field or with his legs. Offensively, we've got to get our ground game going. They're a good rushing defense, so we've got to be able to establish that and then take advantage of some of the man coverage on the perimeter that could potentially open up for some big plays on us. Defensively, we can't allow any big plays on special teams. They're going to try to fake a punt or fake a field goal or attempt some onside kicks. So we have to constantly be alert and on our toes and ready for any of that smoke and mirror stuff or any of the trick plays that we could get. And we have to take advantage of those opportunities.